Recording in progress.
Uh-oh, I don't know if I dare put this joke on the recording. Maybe I'll tell you later. All right, well, good morning, everybody. This is March 2nd, 2026. We're Colonial Classics. My name is Marcia Hildebrand, and I call this meeting to order. It is 11:03. So we are recording this meeting, and we're on Zoom. So this recording will be put on our YouTube page later this week. So let's go ahead and get started with Larry and his opening thoughts. Larry, don't tell that joke, though.
How many here remember the comedian George Carlin? Anybody? All right. This is an article he wrote. Well, first of all, he died in 2008. And he was a funny, often caustic, and sometimes crass comedian. He was dirty. And I saw an article on the net about George Carlin. So I went and took a look at it. And he wasn't that crass when he wrote, it's only when he spoke. When he wrote, he said this: "The paradox of our time in history is that we have taller buildings, but shorter tempers, wider freeways, but narrower viewpoints. We spend more, but have less. We buy more, but enjoy less. We have bigger houses, smaller families, more conveniences, but less time. We have more degrees, but less sense. More knowledge, but less judgment. More experts, yet more problems. More medicine, but less wellness. We drink too much, smoke too much, spend too recklessly, laugh too little, drive too fast, get too angry, stay up too late, get up too tired, read too little, watch TV too much, and pray way too seldom. We have multiplied our possessions, but reduced our values. We talk too much, love too seldom, and hate too often. We've learned how to make a living, but not a life. We've added years to life, but not life to years. We've been all the way to the moon and back, but have trouble crossing the street to meet the neighbor across the street. We conquered outer space, but not inner space. We've done larger things, but not better things. We cleaned up the air, but polluted the soul. We've conquered the atom, but not our prejudice. We write more, but learn less. We plan more, but accomplish less. We've learned to rush, but not to wait. We build more computers to hold more information, to produce more copies than ever, but we communicate less and less. So remember to spend time with your loved ones, because they are not going to be around forever. Remember to give a warm hug to the one next to you, because that is the only treasure you can give with your heart, and it doesn't cost a cent. To be continued.
Thank you, Larry. That was great. Okay, so Lois is going to be busy. I'm going to call her up here to do a whole bunch of things. I wanted to check and make sure everybody signed in when they came in. If you didn't sign in, would you raise your hand? Okay, great. So Lois is going to give us our membership report, treasurer's report, and maybe let the lunch people know how many people are going to lunch with us today. And then right after that, we'll have birthdays. So Lois will play the piano. So let's all give a hand to Lois.
Good morning, everybody. I'm so happy to be here today. We have, let's see, 21 members here today. 17 of you are going to lunch. You're going to miss it. That's too bad. And we have an account balance of $547.34. Thank you.
Good morning. We only have 2 birthdays really in March. The first one is David Dixon. I don't believe he's here. His birthday was on the 23rd, is on the 23rd. The next one is Rebecca Davis on the 30th. There you go. Anyone else in March here? Nobody? Well, we do have, wait a minute, hold it. We have one more person who did not get flowers last time in February, but it was her birthday. She's here today, and that's Lynn Berry.
Yay.
Come on
All
up.
right, come on in.
Happy birthday, late.
Oh,
Oh, well,
Yeah,
come on
come on.
up. We just happen to have some flowers for you.
yay. We can, yeah, okay.
Yeah, right up there.
Here, you want me to take her the flowers?
Yeah. Here we go. Okay. Now you can. Yeah, please. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, dear classics. Happy birthday to you. And many more.
That's great. Happy birthday, everybody. All right. Also, if we miss your birthday at any time and you want to yell at somebody, you can let me know. I'll make sure I get it on the list and we can celebrate you next time. All right, it's time for old business. We are starting our spring donation drive for the Humane Society. So at the next month's meeting, if you think of it, and if you have any old towels, newspapers, blankets, pet supplies, you can bring those and we'll donate them for the next couple of months. Okay, new business. This month, our important item is election of officers for the 26-27 year. We did have nominations that were approved. I'm going to read the nominations that were presented and approved. And then if anybody else wants to add someone to that list of nominees, we'll have our vote. If nobody adds any other nominations, we'll just vote on approving the slate as presented. Does that make sense? Here are the nominees. For President, Marcia Hildebrand. Vice President, David Ayer. Secretary, Christine Schemmel, Treasurer Lois Armour, Members at Large Cynthia Duval, Robert Herrick, and Barbara Moore. Are there any other nominations? I'll give you 5 more seconds to decide. Maybe 10 since our speaker's not here yet. Okay, Becky Schweers moved that we accept the slate as presented. Second was Sue Anderson. Okay, all approved? Or like all in favor? Say hi. Okay, opposed? All right, so those will be our officers for the next year starting in May. And so we'll probably have an executive board meeting sometime in April to kind of kick off the year. Just keep that in mind. Congratulations, or I'm sorry, whichever one. The only other news I have is that games night, which is normally on the first Monday, which would be tonight, has been moved to next Monday because the hospitality center will be set up for tomorrow's election. All right, does anybody else have any business? Oh, I'm a little, I know I can say this because she's made it public, but I hate to tell people's business without their permission. But Deb Young broke her hip, but she's recovering well. And so if she could still appreciate cards or visits, I think. I'm a little bit scared to give a lot of information because we don't want a repeat of what happened yesterday. Bob Erfurth is fine, by the way, in case you haven't heard. All right, David, did you have something? Okay. Yes. Oh, yes, I was going to do that. Our annual dues are due next month. It's $25 per person, and that goes for the year, for the next year cycle. I don't know, they're due in April, our year starts in May, the dues go kind of April to April. And next month, we'll also present our budget and let you know kind of where we stand. But your dues can be given next month to Lois, if you're here. Okay, so if you write a check, put Colonial Classics on the check, and okay. So write the check to Chumsey, not to Colonial Classics. Write it to Chumsey. Just put Colonial Classics in the memo line. And then give it to Lois, not to Brandy. Lois will compile them and give them to her. Is that correct? Okay. Any other new business questions? We might have to take a little break here for jokes because we're still waiting for Bridget and Danny to come. What did you say? Oh, Bridget texted that they're here, so maybe they can't find us. Is Bonnie looking for them? Okay. They are here, so maybe, maybe still not that joke. Well, it's not dirty or anything. All right, I'm gonna just say it. All right, here we go. So I know this scientist who wanted to do an experiment to see if pulling out a nose hair actually hurts. And so they're in the back, yeah. So one night, I'm saying this wrong this time, I'm all flustered. So one night he actually got up the nerve and did it. And he said, based on the amount of screaming that came from his wife, he could verify that it does hurt. I really didn't say that right, but you get the idea. Okay, and our guests are here. I'll tell you before we get started here so I don't have to tell you later, but next month our April meeting is April 6th. It's the day after Easter. And yes, we are meeting, and Patty and Rod Radel from Inner City Development will be here, which I think will be great because they're the ministry that our Gifts of the Heart cards that we present for classics we support them. The church has several ministries with them, and they'll be able to give us a broad overview of what they do and how they use the money and their resources and stuff. Today we have lunch at Sea Island. I know a bunch of you are going, so that should be great. And I don't know how else to stall. Anybody have anything fun to say? Next month we're going to eat at Sarita's. I do know that. And I think May is going to be here, but we'll verify that with the food ladies. Maybe not. They'll tell me. Is that wrong? I have a look of confusion with the food ladies, so that might not be right. They're looking at each other like maybe that's not right. Well, we know today. I'll let you know next month before next month gets here. And I think we're almost ready for our presentation. I'm excited. This is going to be fun. How many of you know very much about Ray Feo? Like, not a lot. I think we're gonna get educated today. It's gonna be fun. So as soon as y'all are ready, I'll have Bonnie Ayer come up and introduce our presenters, and we'll get started. All right, good morning. Bonnie, would you be willing to come up and introduce our guests? All right, thank you.
Hi. Good morning. I am very pleased to introduce two of my favorite people in the whole wide world, Bridget Oliva and Danny Oliva. Danny is El Rey Feo this year, and he's going to tell us all about it. If you haven't ever heard a presentation to realize everything they do, you'll be amazed. All the stuff they get crammed into that period of time before Fiesta. And I haven't seen Bridget hardly all year. So they're very busy. So this is Danny Oliva, El Rey Feo number 77.
Yes, good morning. I guess, are we going to film this? Stream? Okay. Well, no problem? Okay. So I'm Dr. Damaso Oliva Jr. I'm a psychiatrist. I've been practicing in San Antonio for over 35 years. Actually, I'm exaggerating a little bit. I do, yeah. Probably 30 years. Let's just round down 30 years. 35 just rolled off the tongue. But, you know, I do want to first just tell you a little bit about Fiesta. I don't know how much of y'all, you got a little Fiesta outfit back there. You know, Fiesta started in 1891, you know, and really it started by ladies. So it was started really to commemorate the Battle of the Alamo, but not even just that, was the Battle of San Jacinto. So that's why Fiesta is always in April, okay? Because the battle was April 21st, okay? And so this is really kind of a really neat thing. In a historical perspective, the Battle of Flowers parade is one of the largest and the longest running and the only parade in the entire United States run totally by women. Yeah, so that's amazing. Yeah, so the Battle of Flowers Association is all women. You there? Okay. So you have to have I mean, so it's a huge commitment by these ladies, right? And so if you've been to the Battle of Flowers, they're kind of famous. We call them the yellow hats, right? So they're all in yellow, the whole thing, and and so that really is where it all started. And it started by decorating cars, bicycles with the flowers, right? And commemorating the battles, right? So then it has evolved. King Antonio came around and he was giving out coins, and then the coins evolved into medals. And so now, part of Military USA, we always hand out, all these medals. And so I do have a medal for you guys. Now, these are actually little special. These are called cabritos, which is part of what we in the Rafael Consejo and King, Rafael gives out to the biggest donors or the people who helped us out the most. You know what I mean? And so, but that's a little different. I'm diverged a little bit. So as far as, Fiesta, there's 2 kings and 7 queens that preside over Fiesta. So there's King Antonio and then there's Rafael. So we're the 2 kings that preside over. I'm King 77 and they're out. King Antonio, I think, is 103 now. So we came a little bit later on to the show. But our deal for Rafael really is about scholarship, okay? We raise money for underprivileged kids to go to college, right? Our mission, and we feel that the best way for San Antonio, and because the scholarship is all for Bexar County, to evolve and to start is by generational change with kids going to school, right? I mean, myself, I was expected to go to college. That's what you did. And, but these kids, they don't have that opportunity or they don't have that chance because some of they'll be the first generations to go. And so even, so last year we gave out $1.2 million for scholarships, you know what I mean? And so we have 3 people who do that. We have the King, Rafael, we have the Reina Linda, who is a businesswoman that also raises money. And then we have one of the official queens, which is La Reina de la Feria de las Flores. And she's one of the older queens. She's been around also 77 years with us, you know what I mean? So I guess just to keep going, the 7 queens are, you have Miss San Antonio, you have Miss Fiesta, you have the Order of the Alamo, you have the Charro Queen, you have our queen, La Reina de la Feria de las Flores, there's the Queen of Soul, who else am I missing? The Teen Queen, okay? So those are the 7 queens that preside over Fiesta. So they don't want any more royalty, even though we go and crown all these other, one of our jobs, King Antonio and myself, is to go around the city and crown like all these other kings and queens that belong, like we did. There's a special needs organization called Especial. So we went to their crowning and we crowned their kings and queens and dukes and duchesses and all that. So that's what's the other thing that we do, right? But another thing that people don't realize, and y'all have always had it, y'all still have your Fiesta event or no? Well, for the longest time, you guys had a Fiesta event here, right? And so every Fiesta event, to become certified, you have to be around for 3 years, and you have to meet all these criteria. And Bridget and I were on their accreditation committee, you know what I mean? And so we had a really good time doing that because you get to meet a lot of different people, and you go to see all the different events, and we get them certified. So, but every event has to have a charity, and that's what people don't realize, right, about Fiesta. People think it's a lot of eating, drinking, and a celebration. But all what we're using is our vices toward hopefully someone's benefit, and it's usually underprivileged people, or even just like your church. It could go all back to the church or whatever your charity you choose to use. But that's really the whole purpose of Fiesta, is really charity fundraising and to help, progress San Antonio with this, what we call a party with a purpose, right? Do y'all have any questions or anything else? Well, let me just tell you this, I guess. Our scholarship is very unique. The Ray Fail Scholarship is not just a one-time scholarship. It gets you through all 4 years. So every semester, if you keep your grades up, you get, now we're up to $2,000. So every semester you get $2,000. Now, the Reinas have a scholarship, La Reina Feria de las Flores has a scholarship also. But the thing is, too, is last year we really diversified it. We gave $200,000 to St. Philip's for the trade schools. So if you want to do culinary arts, if you want to do HVAC, or you want to be an electrician, so we were doing that. We gave $50,000 to Palo Alto for, people that work with it. Toyota's out there, and some of the other manufacturers are working with Palo Alto to retool our population here in San Antonio in the South area to feed, Toyota and other things. We are also now, this year, I'll be giving money to a thing called Alamo Promise, which is amazing. If you have any grandkids or anybody else that any graduate in Bexar County from high school is guaranteed free, one more time, free 2 years college, okay, through Alamo Promise. Yeah, it's through the Alamo College District, so all 5 of the Alamo College districts. And now, even there, the Alamo colleges, the 2-year schools, the junior colleges, right now they have 2 full 4-year degrees. You can get a BSN in nursing, and you can get a BA in business. And they have had affiliations with A&M, Palo Alto A&M out there, and UTSA for engineering, so that you can do 2 years there and then transfer over and do 2 years or I think now engineering is 5 years, but you could finish your engineering at UTSA or at San Antonio A&M. So that's what we really do. We try to just encourage education. And so that's the biggest thing. So do you have any questions or anything else? Go ahead.
I wanted you to tell people about your father.
Okay. Well, you want to? Okay. Well, part of our story is I was born in Cuba, and so I came here at 3 years old on a Red Cross boat. Yes, ma'am.
Y'all kept any records on how many kids you put through college successfully and that type of thing?
Yes, the foundation, because what we do is we raise the money and it goes to the foundation, right? And so, because we're at I can't give you the exact number, but last year we did have it's getting lower and lower, 15% that did not, weren't able to continue second year. You know what I mean? But yeah, so that's it. Yes, ma'am.
You mentioned a 2-year scholarship to the,
Junior colleges, yes.
for any graduate of a San Antonio high school.
Yes, ma'am.
How would a person apply?
Yeah, you go to the Alamo Promise, that website,
And they're guaranteed it, or do they have to compete for it?
Yeah, that's not our scholarship. As far as I know, everyone is guaranteed it, as far as I know. And the wild thing about it is it's beyond that. They actually have a food pantry. So if you don't have food that day, you can go to the food pantry. If you're a single parent, they provide daycare, okay? And even to the point where if you happen to fall into homelessness, they have a parking lot where you can spend the night, and the security from the college will monitor and protect, keep you safe. Yes, ma'am.
Why are you called the ugly king? You're not ugly.
Thank you. This is basically, we are called the People's King also. That's our other name. And this originated in Spain and France, where the people had lost touch with the monarchies. Okay? And so a while back, I don't know if you all had taken any of your grandkids or your kids to see The Hunchback of Notre Dame, the cartoon Disney. If you see it, it starts out with the hunchback, and he's in a parade, and they're throwing tomatoes and potatoes at him and stuff, and he goes back up to the cathedral. He was that ugly king, right? And so what we represent is really the people, right? We were supposed to be like, we have a fiesta event. It has been the longest running free event, and actually since it's at Market Square for those 10 days. So if you go now for the first time, I think this will be the first year, we're actually going to charge $5 after 5 o'clock. And we've had to, and the reason why is because it was free, it was open to the public, and you could just walk on, is the vendors that we had were having issues with people bringing in food or alcohol, and so because they pay for those booths. And so we've had to now fence it all off, and have more security and to make sure that they get their thing and it's a safe for everyone else. But still, from the morning all the way to 5 o'clock, where more of the families go, or we go, we don't go at night. It's safer, and there's less people who are impaired. And so, but it's still free. So that's part of our thing, is we want to give back, and it's about really, like we said, we're about trying to help people who don't have a chance to go to college to do that. We're here to try to help, San Antonians, be able to afford. I mean, because you guys know, you go to these events, and it's one thing to get in, then to buy a turkey leg is like $30. You know what I mean? Heaven forbid that you actually want a beer, or even just Bridget only drinks a Coke Zero. So, even her Coke Zero now is like over $5, And so, everything is so expensive. And so we are still trying to offer that to the public, and because you're going to come in free, but then these vendors are gouging us already, you know what I mean? That's why, because I love to go to King William, and there is nice. You get to see the parade for free. Just old time, just sit on the curb, watch the kids go by and the parades go by. It's just, to me, it's very nostalgic, very old school, but then, you still, now, it used to be free when we used to go, when we would go, it was free to go to King William. Now I think it's $25. Yeah. $20 just to walk in, and then forget it. And then they make you buy those tickets, and then you end up leaving with more tickets, as they made money. Because you didn't want to stand in line to get whatever you needed to get. You know what I mean? So, yes, I'm sorry. Go ahead, ma'am.
I was just wondering, what's the process for selecting El Rey Feo? And
that's a great question. Yes. So a little bit more of a, even history-wise, there's two groups, right? I belong to the consejos, which means council. It's like council to the king. King Antonio has the cavaliers. And so, in theory, you have to become a consejo first. Now, unfortunately, or fortunately for everyone, if someone's very wealthy and they want to be king and they can write a huge check, they can jump the line. Right? Because it's not about really us, it's about scholarships, right? So there was a gentleman that did it. He wrote a check for $500,000, and this was like 12 years ago. So 12 years ago, $500,000. You know, he got to be Ray Feo. He wanted it, and he got it. You know what I mean? Oh no, it was only when you give it to the foundation. You know, he wrote a check for the foundation. Is 100% scholarship, right? But you bring up a point that all of our money is not 100% for scholarships, right? Because why? I had to pay for those medals that I'm going to give you today. We have to pay for, we're going to go to over 77 schools. We're already about 60. Yeah. Well, the police officers, the gas, everything else. And so at every school, well, do you want to take off this thing for me, and I could go over the cape with them. So every Ray Feo, which is different from King Antonio. King Antonio has a uniform, right, and it's pretty consistent. So we also have a basic uniform, but as you see, the cape, my Elvis flames, you know what I mean? The crown is individual, so we, the King Antonio, and it does take one or two people to get me dressed in the morning, so, because, so this is the basic uniform that has not changed, right, is this, you know what I mean? So, but this is basically a little bit of every king gets one of these, and so the same guy that makes the dresses for the Order of the Alamo, did this and designed my crown. So this basically is my life right here. So to what you're mentioning, this crown here represents the consejos. That's kind of the symbol of the consejo, organization. It has a little RF underneath it for Ray Feo. But so this is the crown, and so I went back more typical. These last several kings were doing. I went more to this imperial crown. The last kings were getting really kind of high crowns, and you didn't know who was competing with the queens. It was the king or the queen. So I'm sorry. Okay. So then we have on top of my crown, and in here is the Holy Trinity. Okay. So I have 3 Holy Trinities in the crown, and that represents my spirituality. Because my last name is Oliva. I am Ray Feo 77. So here, you've come down here, you have the shape of the Alamo, and then you have a Greek letter psi. So that's the Greek letter psi for psychiatry or psychology. My organization or my business is Alamo Psychiatric Care. So kind of incorporated that there. So then you have here the cathedral, which is on my crown also. That's the cathedral. That is where the crown is blessed in October, and where we're officially crowned right on the first Friday of Fiesta. So you guys are welcome to come to that event. It is just a little hot, but it's also free and open air. It's out in front of the cathedral in the square. So this is what we're talking about. This is the cabrito, and then these are the ones that you get, and that's the highest order that we can give to a person. It's a goat, right? So these are my parents, is Ofelia and Damas Oliva. This is mariposas. This is the national flower of Cuba, and so that's kind of in tribute to them, in reference to them. This is the caduceus, because I'm a doctor, right? So these are the schools I went to, is Antonian, St. Mary's, UAG, and then the Health Science Center for my psychiatric training. Then you come down. Poor Bridget, can you hold up there? No. Are you getting tired yet? So, because this thing is actually heavy. So we have here a claddagh. I don't know how many of y'all are Irish or familiar with that. The hands are our friendship, the heart is love, and the crown is loyalty. And everyone in our family wears one. Both of our children Even their girlfriends and spouses wear one. Should I say it? Yeah. So that was my pickup line when I met her on St. Mary Street, over 30 years ago. She had it on. And so if you have your heart pointing, if the heart is pointing inward towards your heart's taken. And if the heart is pointing outward, it's available. And I said, hey, baby, you're available. He goes, how do you know that? I said, well, look, your heart, you're not dating nobody. Your heart's out there,
So it's in our crest.
It's okay.
Okay. So, but what did you say? What did you say?
Which time?
Well, for me, it was love at first sight. Yeah, no, for her, it was an acquired taste. But the other thing is that, she said, hey, how does this Texan Cuban guy know about, a colada? So that was kind of okay. So then you come up and you have two blue bonnets, right? And so these blue bonnets are also in my crown, and those are our two children that were born here in Texas, here in San Antonio. So then the last part of it, which has to do with the flames, and is the torches, right? So the torches is something that means scholarship, right? It's one of the symbols for the National Honor Society. It's also something that you hand down. It's something that you carry forward. And so my father was Raphael, and all the Raphaels have a responsibility. So part of it is that you hand that over, right? And so that we pass that on. And then there's a flame, right? And so it's okay. You guys saw the flame and stuff. So there's the flame, right? And so this flame is basically the fire that we want to ignite, right, in everyone, in their heart, in the kids, for curiosity of learning, right? Because that's what we want. What keeps us young is that we're still learning, right? And so we always want to be, so that's why you guys are here, right? Thank you for coming, is that you're still curious, right? We still want to learn. We still want to, I believe in lifelong learning, right? And that's how we all get better, right? And so that's what we're trying to even, we go to elementary schools, middle schools, high schools. We have different little speeches for each one of them, but that's what we're about, right? Lifelong learning and igniting this spark for curiosity and learning within the kids. So that's our mantra. So we have a torch, and then we tell them to light it. And then what we do is then we give the principal a little flame, and so then we'll pass it and light their flame and tell them that they have to keep that flame going, right? And so, that's where the warped psychiatrist thing, But it's still about, well, like we tell them, it's about inspiration and motivation, right? Our job is to motivate them and inspire them to, be the best versions of themselves, right? Because we talk about with the kids is you can't compare. You can't compare yourself to anybody else, right? Every single even one of you is very special, right? And there's only one of you, so you can't compare. So we always, in my practice, now I'm going to need to charge you after this, but we say, if you compare, you'll end up with despair, right? And so, we want to, be the best versions of ourselves and try to do our best every day and make good choices. That's what we tell the kids, But any other questions or anything? Go ahead, ma'am. Yes, the stuff that I purchased it, I designed it, I built it. I didn't build it, but but it's very heavy. Yeah. So it has sapphires was my birthstone. I was born in September. I went to Antonian High School, so obviously there's a red theme, the red caps, and and light blue. But yes, we keep it. Like I said, in the crown here, you can flip it over. This is where the cathedral is. Right there. Yes. Well, we paid for it, or Bridget paid for it, you know. So, you know, in the crown, there's the cathedral. Inside, you can't really see, but there's four-leaf clovers, which represent my Irish lady, and then the kids again are the blue bonnets that are on both sides. You know what I mean? And so, and then of course the main man upstairs, the Holy Trinity. So, so y'all want to hold it or? Yeah, yeah. So I do. Like if you can see, I get the marks on my head. They were calling me Peyton Manning because he always had that little on my head. So, but yes, you know, even just take because this comes off and you can, like this is Carritos. So I have one with all our court members, and then you know have some for events. So even just this and the cape and the crown, it's really heavy, you know. Stuff and gets really hot. So, but do you want to talk about Fiesta or about the Fiesta Commission? So, okay, well, do you have any more questions? So, you know, as king, I'm not on the Fiesta Commission, but Bridget, you know, we really believe in Fiesta, and Bridget is an elected commissioner. And if she's on the various committees.
As he gets paged. Hi, I'm Bridget. I'm called the Royal Consort, which means I'm married to the king. We all have our own titles. It is a very complicated situation. I mean, I'm going to kind of backtrack and tell a little bit about how it works. On the Ray Feo side, there's really three entities, okay? There's the Ray Feo Scholarship Foundation. That's the mothership, okay? That's who picks all the Ray Feos and for since 1947, okay? Well, actually, I don't think they became the foundation until the 80s, but that's all legal stuff. There's a group called the Consejo that he is a member of. And like he said, you don't have to be a Consejo to be a king, but they're trying to make it a little bit more consistent. And then technically, he and his court is a third entity. It's the reign, okay? Every year it's a new king. Every year it's a new court. That court puts on different events. Some of them are traditional and you do them every year. Some of them, each king has their own little vibe and wants to do different things. And we put on all sorts of events. It's a lot of work. And we make as much money as we can. And it isn't easy, as you know, to raise money. It just isn't. There's a few donors out there that are real consistent and they believe in scholarship, but things get harder every year. And the money goes back to the foundation, the majority of it. But there is another set, and he was talking about it, it's called the back end, and that is part of Fiesta. In other words, you know, there's 10 or 12 people, all with uniforms, you all have your hotel rooms downtown, you have to have a police escort everywhere you go, all that costs. So there is always a back end, and some of the money goes there. But the lion's share goes to scholarships, and we're always looking to get it. And with Fiesta, and I am an elected commissioner, and he also was years ago, it's a really cool group, okay? It's not hard to join the Fiesta Commission. It's like $100. Okay, or 75, depending on what level you want to do. And there's several events that they put on that you get to go to free as just a member, and it's really quite nice. There's really only a handful of paid employees at the Fiesta Commission. Everybody else is a volunteer, and they put on this 10-day huge party that has 120 PMOs, it's actually more now. It's close to 150 events for those 10 days. And of course, you had one, so you know each event is put on by its separate organization. Each PMO is a participating member organization is part of Fiesta. And there's some rules about what you can do and what you can't do. And so I sit on the membership committee, I sat on the accreditation committee, And there's always a lot of volunteers doing things. There's people that, you see them all the time at Fiesta. They're the people that mark you in, that you've attended, and, all sorts of things. And then what we do is an elected commissioner is there for 3 years. They can either choose to seek election to a higher position or not, circle around, become a commissioner again. But if after you've done it twice, you have to sit out for a little bit. And I'm always amazed at what Steve Rosenauer, who is the executive director, the paid guy, does. I mean, Fiesta is dumbfounding to me. I mean, how good San Antonio is at putting this on is amazing. Now, there's some other cities that do things too. We were just in Brownsville last weekend. That was a first for Ray Feo. He was asked to be in their parade. They do a whole Charo Days. And the weekend before, we were in Laredo. And Laredo has reached out to Ray Feo for years, and they've gone down for their Washington's birthday celebration. And those are incredible celebrations. They put on an amazing event too, as does Mardi Gras. But I am amazed at San Antonio and all the volunteers and what we do and how many different charities and nonprofits that our city supports. But what he didn't tell you about, and I'm going to take a moment and tell you, yes, his dad was Ray Feo. So, he kind of saw it as we were married already, but we were young, and I can tell you that it was a lot of work then. It's at least double the work now. It's amazing how much it's progressed, how many more events to do, how much more everything costs, et cetera, et cetera. But yeah, his dad did tell him that it was important to give back to the community. It's important to be educated. But his mom, and I will say, my mother-in-law is still alive. My mother-in-law is an amazing woman. 86, and she, well, obviously Danny was 3, but the revolution came and they were in Cuba. And they closed the medical school, so he had to stop medical school. And he did odd jobs and things. And then my in-laws lived in a newer apartment complex that the Cuban government wanted to house all the Russian workers and people that were coming over to, I guess, help that regime move along. And so they went up and down the floors and said, you guys can leave. Okay, we're not going to keep you here. If you leave tomorrow or in 3 days or whatever it was, and you give everything up. You go with the clothes on your back, and my mother-in-law had to give her wedding ring over to the officials, and they got on a Red Cross boat, and that's how my husband and my in-laws got out. But prior to the actual beginning of the revolution, my mother-in-law, she's really the smartest one in your family, okay? She is. I mean, my father-in-law was a really smart guy, don't get me wrong, but, and so was my husband. But my mother-in-law, that bloodline, my mother-in-law was valedictorian of her high school. And she went to a Catholic high school with the Dominican sisters, and the valedictorian gets a full ride scholarship to come to the United States to go to the Catholic University of America in Washington, D.C., where I went to college. So that's kind of an interesting little connection with my mother-in-law. However, the revolution came, and the scholarship didn't happen. College didn't happen. She was stuck in Cuba, and she ended up marrying my father-in-law, having him. But all her plans for the future, done. Now, she got to come to the United States. She spoke English, like how you learn in high school,
The school that she was at was in English.
Yeah, but I mean, she still had a heavy accent, and Anyway, to make a long story short, she didn't get to go to college, and I think that the Ray Feo program, my father-in-law was not a wealthy man, and it mattered to him that that you break down the barriers and you give forward money for people to go. And the other side, my mother-in-law, there are other barriers to going to school. Okay, it's not always about the money, but there's only so much we can do about those barriers. And that's why some of the things that the Alamo College District is so important. You know, it's not always just the tuition. Then there's the books, then there's the, do I have childcare? Do I have the clothes? Do I have, you know, so just knowing that it was a political reason why it was taken away from her. And obviously, you might not have that power to help with politics, but you should have the power to remove the barriers, the other barriers any way you can. And I think that that's the thing. It's, I mean, everyone, you know, my father-in-law was Raphael, but he also learned from my mother-in-law that there are barriers that you need to work towards removing. And I find that really amazing that you do it. Anyway, I'll get you back. You're done with your call, doctor?
Yeah, I'm on call today, so. Any other questions or anything else?
Which Raphael was your father?
He was Raphael 44, so it's kind of interesting because 44 and 77, you know. So there was one other physician, he's 55. So it's kind of interesting. So 44, 55, and 77. So that's kind of, yeah. So we do have some Fiesta medals for y'all, you know. And so, you know, my bag is up there. I'll get it. So, but we have some medals. You know, Bridget has her. Well, here, hold on a second. Yeah.
Explain that to people. Yeah. Okay. One of the things he has a number of medals, okay, and everybody always, and the little kids love the medals. We give them out at the schools, but everybody on the court is required to make a medal. And now that is something that each court member pays for themselves. And it will reference which Raphael they were and what their position is. And as Royal Consort, I'm on the court. So I have my Royal Consort medal, and he has his, I guess it's your Viva Oliva medal? Yeah, Viva Oliva. Okay. So.
Tell them how you came up with it.
Oh, well, that didn't take much. Yeah, I did. I came up with, well, you know how you say Viva to everything in here you go, David. And every Bonnie, can you hand me that big bag that's heavier than anything? Yeah, let me get that. Sorry. Viva, I don't know why I thought of it. I was like, well, we say Viva to everything, and it rhymes, so now he gets to say, people say Viva Oliva for him. So you're welcome. He's coming. Do you guys have any other questions? Any questions about the commission, about getting onto members, you know, joining if you want to? Probably most of you have done that. Here you go, ma'am. I think cool, yeah. There you go. They're kind of stuck in here.
Bonnie and David, if you could come up.
I'm dressed up.
I mean, I got it in my hand. Here, hold on. So this is our VIP medal. Actually, and so it's just it's a little bit more. Can't get it out. So this is our special.
Okay, there.
We'll also get you a Viva Oliva.
Oh, I love it.
Thank y'all.
Is it still in the Thank you, Danny and Bridget. We really appreciate that. If you could stay around for just a minute or two after and let David take a few posed pictures of the two of you, we'd appreciate that. And we have a thank you note for you from our group. We're so glad that you were here. All right, Lynn, we're ready for you to come and give us a blessing for our lunch, and then we will adjourn.
Let us pray. Heavenly Father, thank you for the wonderful heritage that we share in being a part of San Antonio, the wonderful people that do so much to be helpful. Thank you for the opportunity to hear the story today about this loving couple who, as your servants, are doing your will and expanding the opportunity throughout our community. Guide us in all that we do. Bless San Antonio, the efforts of this event, and give us the continued vision to be the people that you would have us to be. We thank you for the opportunity to meet together and to fellowship with our food, and ask your blessings on us as we go from here into our community to serve you. In the name we pray, amen.
Thank you, Lynn, and it's 12:04, and this meeting is adjourned.
Y'all want to take any pictures?
Yeah.